Good morning, Diet Disruptors. Carrie here, and today is going to be a very, very special edition of our episode. I can't wait to tell you what this is all about. So, week after week, I try to come on here and be as authentic as I can, as passionate as I can about why the lifestyle that we teach is so important to you and your family. And I am a teacher at heart and try to teach and teach and teach. But sometimes I know that I need to take a step back. I need to take a step back and let other voices be heard. Y'all, we have a membership group that is unlike any other. And these women are incredible. They invested in themselves, they committed to themselves, and they decided, I'm going to trust Carrie. I'm going to trust her coaches, and I'm going to do this. And so today you are going to hear from them. I asked my members, who wants to share? And so many came back and said, I want to tell my story. I want to tell my story. And so I just picked a time, and a bunch of them were able to come and a bunch of them were not. So we will do this again at another time, but we pre-recorded a conversation together. And today I am going to kind of jump off the live train and jump into this pre-recorded session. And I want you to listen. I want you to engage. I want you to see yourself in these women's stories and know that the hope and the possibilities are real. This isn't about just believing me. This is about believing in the mission, in the passion, and the hope that is here. So I'm going to take a step back, but I'm going to watch live with you. So comment as you're watching, comment as you're hearing their stories. Tell me what resonates with you. Ask questions because I'm not going to be live. I can answer them as you're responding. So, and if you're listening on the podcast, this is going to be perfect for you. You can listen to these women's stories and be able to understand and see yourself in them. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm going to start this recording, and I want to hear from you about your takeaways and what you're thinking. I'll come back on after it's over. Thanks. Well, hey, my diet disruptors. I am so excited about today's episode. So look at this. Look, this is totally different than what I normally do. Everyone say hi. I have a panel of diet disruptors here. So I reached out to our members in our membership group and I'm like, who wants to be on our podcast? Who wants to share their experiences with people who need to hear it? There is so much inspiration in the Zoom room and I am very excited. They jumped up, many people jumped up to share, but this was the time that these folks could join us. So I'm very excited and we're going to just share a little bit about our stories and about our successes and why living the life as a diet disruptor has been so powerful. So we're going to have a discussion here. People are going to kind of jump in and talk and share. And I'd love to start with Noelle. Noelle's been around for a long time, kind of a lifer, I guess, I hope. But Noelle, why don't you start and share a little bit about what your life was like before disruptive nutrition and then maybe a little bit about after.
Okay, well, good morning. I would say that life before disruptive nutrition was a little bit like a rudderless ship for me. That's 2 words, rudderless ship. And I found Carrie scrolling Facebook late at night, one night in bed, because I was looking for my next plan of attack for losing weight. And when Carrie's story came up, she was telling her own story completely authentically. I felt like she was talking directly to me, and her story was completely relatable to me about the struggle of trying all the things and them working for a little while, and then you just go back to where you were before. Mm-hmm. So everything about your story, Carrie, just resonated with me. I wanted to sit up in bed and start right then, but it was 11:30 at night. So I didn't do that.
So fast forward, what is life like now? Are you a rudderless ship still?
Oh, no, I don't look at life like that whatsoever. I do have, and as you've been talking recently about chaos, my life is very full. Our lives are hopefully always going to be full to a degree. It's how you intend to spend your time. It's your intentions, setting the mindsets. And when you want to conquer your nutrition, the thing that you can control the most and your mindset, those two things, when they're married together, really change everything. The perspective, the feeling of the chaos is not rudderless anymore. It's manageable, and it's my life, and it feels just better. I feel better physically. So that helps. And mentally, when you're feeling better, obviously that helps too. So it's all very well married together.
Awesome. Who else wants to jump on that? Any other comments?
Yeah,
I'll jump on.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Leah. Leah, you shined on you. It's like, in Family Feud, when you hit the thing, your yellow light came out first, so you get to go.
Yeah, so I have a very similar story to Noelle's, but when I met Carrie, she said, "Oh, like tell me what life has been like," and I'm like, "Well, I've done everything." And when I go back and I listen to some of the things that I hear from our coaches and other people that have gone through the program, I was very much one of those people that said, stuff that worked for me. I was an athlete growing up, and I was able to eat what I wanted. And if I just, committed to running every day, things were fine. And, I've done all the programs, the Weight Watchers, the low carb, the intermittent fasting, everything. And, as I've been getting older, I'm noticing after I had my third child, those last 10 pounds, then 20 pounds, like they never went away. And so stuff that used to work for me, no matter what I was trying, wasn't working anymore. And so very similar story, found Carrie while scrolling through Facebook, and then the thing around disruptive nutrition comes on. I spent an entire Saturday. I did all the free programs, and I spent an entire Saturday learning everything I could that Carrie had published for PFC. And I said, "Oh, I can do this. Like I'm pretty good at like self-management, self-containment." And I tried, but there's a difference. What I would say is when I actually decided to commit, and I committed to the 12-week trifecta, I was even, and Carrie will tell you, I waffled a little bit because again, I feel very self-motivated. I feel like when I put my mind to something, I can do it. But the difference isn't in just being able to do it, it's being able to sustain it. And when things have been hard for me, I'm finishing up my week 4 of 4 weeks to wellness. And I just made a post the other day because it is when the chaos creeps in, as Noelle mentioned, my old habits come back. Now I felt proud of myself because I've gone down these 3.5 weeks and like, I've been really good and I didn't fall into my old habits, but man, the other day I really wanted to. And the difference for me from this versus me going it on my own is that every single day there is something in the portal that I pay attention to. And that comes back to my head of like something I didn't think about, something I would have overlooked if I didn't have the guiding that I'm getting through this program. I would have maybe made it a week or two and then gone back just the same way that I do everything else.
And then convinced that nothing works.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Beth, I see you nodding over there.
Yeah, no, what she said resonated with me because there's been times when I'm like, oh, I want a snack. But then I realized, wait a minute, I'm not hungry. So I think what she said, that awareness that you promote in this program, self-awareness and ask questions, be curious. And usually it's because I'm overspent, I'm tired. So that for me is just different in this program. I can follow like her. I'm very self-motivated. I know what to do, but I never ask myself those questions.
Yeah, you know what, Beth, your story always makes me think too, because, well, first of all, a lot of times I say to women, when you want something, do you know if it's a physical craving or an emotional craving? Mm-hmm. And I would say almost everybody before this doesn't know the difference. But because you're fueling your body correctly, would you say that you now know the difference between a physical craving and emotional craving? That's huge, right? Yeah. And then Beth, you were like calorie counting queen. I feel like you could have written a book on calorie counting. And I've quoted you a few times that like the weight of not counting calories has been lifted.
Yes, it was actually amazing. I remember telling Coach Deb, like 2 weeks in, I realized I wasn't counting, and it was like so freeing, you know, because I knew calories and everything. I'm embarrassed to say, but yeah, and now I don't count calories. I just eat my PFC. I do look forward to my meals many times.
Yeah.
But, you know, because I am hungry. I think my metabolism is working. But it did resonate with me because I almost didn't do this program either. Because I thought, I know how to do this. I'm self-motivated. I just need the information Carrie gave me. But I'm so glad I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did as well. Now, you know what's so interesting though is Melissa over here has done our program and then she fell off. And I would say you're never off, but she kind of left. And then when her coach checked in with you're like maybe a year later, Melissa, I guess, and was like, "How are you doing?" And she goes, I'm dabbling in PFC." And you got reinvigorated. And I mean, you have a big why. Your why is really big. And the fact that you fell off, even with a huge why, says anybody can, right? So tell us a little bit about your why and why you're now back on.
I do too diabetic. And
Yeah.
I was at the end of where the original medicine after 12 years wasn't beginning to work anymore. And so I began to get more fearful instead of just like, oh, I'm doing okay. And why I started this first, what really spoke to me was the blood stabilization that you talked about, because I was scrolling too. I was scrolling for what can I do about this diabetes? And when that really resonated, and as a diabetic, I was used to eating every 3 hours. So much of the program, I was like, some of the other was, oh, I can do this. This is great. But here's what happens to me and why it doesn't happen anymore. I would be so fearful and it's not changing fast enough. Okay, I've done this for a month. I've done this for 6 weeks. I got to do something that works faster because I'm in a desperate situation. Well, you all know that. I'm just on the hamster wheel. A year later, I was in worse shape, blood sugar wise and weight than I was. And
we lost her.
Just got a phone call that came in on my iPad. So this time around, I was not just concerned about my diabetes, I was terrified. It had gone up so high. So jump to the chase cut the chase on that one. In just the 6 weeks, I've been back with the 4 weeks to wellness and now into the trifecta second month. I am down over 200 points in my blood sugar. Well, that is motivating. Yes, it's working.
Awesome.
And you up your game too. You didn't just do the 4 week, you actually extended up to our 12-week program and really invested in yourself.
And because I would joke on this group that I am the pickiest eater in the program. And so the 4 weeks to wellness is a challenge for me. No dairy, no cottage cheese and yogurt that I usually use for my proteins. So I got to say I wobble a little on that, but I did not give up. And my coach really helped me push through that. And now that I'm past that into the second month, I mean, I am crushing it. I feel peace around food. I feel calm. I just go, oh, okay, it's time to eat again. Oh, okay. And it's just not all this, oh, every bite, is this going to hurt my diabetes? Is this going to, be good for my diabetes? It's good.
Yeah. How did it like to not fear food? Who can relate?
Oh, that's just like Beth with the calorie counting, when you realize that's out of your brain, just to, I'm still concerned. I still obviously need to always be cognizant of the diabetes stuff until I reverse it, like other people have been able to do. That is my goal. But to not have that driving fearfulness, because I know that puts out stress hormones and that works against my body. So I'm doing really good right now. And I encourage anybody that thinks you could do it yourself or, oh, it doesn't work fast enough, just hang in there a little bit longer.
I love that. Sarah, you're also one that like I love what you do in our membership group. You put yourself out there, you hold yourself accountable. Your before and after pictures. And I'm not a big fan of like before and after and all of that kind of stuff, because I think it's before and during and it never stops. But you came to us knowing a ton. I mean, you're like practically a full-on professional when it comes to health and wellness, and yet needed this and brought on a coach and knew that you had a ways to go. And your progress has been incredible.
I obviously know a lot about nutrition and health and that kind of stuff, but here's the problem. I didn't have like a tribe or anybody to hold me accountable, and that was a big problem for me. And it got to a point where I had a lot going on in my life. My dad had cancer again, so he's had cancer twice now, and my self-care kind of took a back burner, and I was very depressed, and eating actually became a chore to me. I just couldn't be bothered to deal with it. I would get hungry, and then I would panic because, oh, I'm hungry now, but I've got nothing to eat. And then I would sort of grab the nearest thing, and it would be like fried chicken tenders from Publix. I don't know if you have Publix where you are, but we have it in Florida. Fried Taco Bell, like pizza.
So the thing is, Sarah, your situation hasn't changed. You're still dealing with the same issues, but why is it different now for you?
It's different because I did this, and I got myself into a routine. I hired the coach. I actually went full in. I mean, I was like the first person that signed up. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing it now. It was like a hell yes for me.
I love that.
If it's a hell yes, go for it. So I just went for it. I put it all on my credit card. I'm like, yeah, going for it. And it's been an absolute life changer. Okay.
I mean, you almost looked like you were pregnant. Remember you sent that picture and you were like, your gut health. And within, what was it, a week?
Oh yeah. It's like completely flat now. So I didn't come into this to lose weight at all, but I have actually lost. Even on my small frame, I've lost over the last 8 weeks of doing this. I've lost 6 pounds. It wasn't like a big in the first week. This is like very, very slow, like half a pound here, a pound here, half a pound here. So I mean, I'm leaving it up to my body. If my body wants to so if my body wants to do that, then that's fine. But it's definitely not a goal of mine. My goal was just getting to a routine. And it's really funny because the food that I was eating during the challenge is pretty much the same food as I'm eating now.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? How many other people are like the same food that you were eating when you learned how to eat clean and healthy and correct are still really doing most of that? I do on the, but then how many of you feel like you can still do whatever food you want at any time? Yeah. Would you agree? That's awesome. Yeah. Jessica, you just gave a big thumbs up. Talk about what that's like.
Well, before this, I actually tried to give up a lot of the sugars and the sweets and all the icky stuff that's not good for you, because I've been trying to lose weight for like 12, 13, 14 years. And every year it just kept piling on. And I would try to cut calories. I would fast. I would exercise like crazy, and nothing was working for me. And I was still gaining 5 pounds a year. And 60 pounds later, I found you, and I just dove in because I knew that I needed something where I could still eat and still eat what I wanted to eat and not feel like I was deprived and lose weight. And I know you say ditch the scale, but I noticed that I was feeling better. My face thinned out. I didn't look like a sausage in my clothes anymore. And I weighed myself, and in 7 weeks, I lost 16 pounds. And I was just amazed because that's like 3 years of weight gain for me. Wow. And I lost that in 7 weeks. And I know that's not always typical because I'm also very overweight. So generally you tend to lose a lot quick when you're doing something like this, but I never
think about how much you're eating.
And that's it. I'm like, I don't feel hungry. And I don't feel like when I'm sitting and watching a movie that I need to go and grab a whole bunch of snacks.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, it's like I can just enjoy the movie and not be focused on my food.
Well, and because our body was being deprived, our brain it plays these games with us, and we think it's us. We think it's our willpower. But when you're fueling your body correctly, it's amazing how that becomes out of the equation. And then you can sit and enjoy a movie, and you can still have your popcorn if you really want it. Right. Yeah. I mean, do you all know how to go to, like, I always say, I can go out in any situation. I could eat anywhere. Do you guys feel like you could, if you push comes to shove, you have to go to McDonald's, you know what to do? You can handle it?
Yeah.
Beth, you look at your face. You're like, because I know you wouldn't go to McDonald's. I know you wouldn't go to McDonald's. But if you had to go to McDonald's, could you all do it?
Yeah.
Okay. And know what to do? Yes, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, Melissa, go ahead.
Let me just jump in about my appreciation meal for the first time last Saturday. Dairy Queen's my big deal. Well, before it was a big Dairy Queen, big blizzard. I live in the country. I can't drive. I'm pretty much homebound. My husband will drive me through the countryside and we'll look at the llamas and the goats and sheep. It's my one big outing. And no, I can't go to Dairy Queen. I could still take the drive in the country. But now that I'd gone far enough in the program, talked with my coach, I picked the mini blizzard and I had my right amount of turkey, eating it in the car on the way, and just was going to check. The very next day, my blood sugar had still come down 5
That's
more
not even
points.
an appreciation meal. That
Yeah,
just means
that
you were.
was me trying to have my favorite thing and not go
So
nuts.
that's a great example. She had her Dairy Queen and she had some turkey beforehand. That doesn't even count as an appreciation meal, right? All right, Laura/Megan. We know Laura as Megan, but I just learned that her real name is Laura. And Megan is actually where I used to live. There's a few people from Ohio, right?
No.
And so, Megan, talk a little bit about your story because you knew somebody in the program, I think.
Yeah.
First. Am I right?
Yeah.
So is that what prompted you?
Yes. Michelle Steffen, who's a coach.
Yeah.
She's been a lifelong friend. We grew up right next door to each other. And so I knew she was doing this, and I had actually contacted Michelle to talk to her a little bit about dietary issues. I have a daughter with a chronic illness, and she had decided to go vegan to help with her inflammation and things. So I was talking to Michelle about that, and she was telling me about the program, and I kind of, put it off, and, I'm like, that sounds really interesting, but I'm doing okay. I really wasn't interested in losing weight. I felt with a vegan in the house and another daughter who's gluten-free, I was eating very healthy, lots of, whole foods, and, doing fine. I was a sugar addict. I knew that. I mean, I have a whole cupboard that was all candy, but I was going along and I was fine. Well, I myself received a diagnosis that I was not happy about. And then I got a second diagnosis of my cholesterol in a year had spiked over 100 points.
Okay, wait, hang on. You were eating healthy.
Except for the sugar.
Yeah, except for sugar, right? But we all know, you guys all know now, right? Why we've had these sugar cravings, because our blood sugar hasn't been stabilized. We didn't know how to do it. Even Sarah, who knew so much about nutrition, we taught her a whole new way of eating food so that it works differently in your body. Healthy is not going to be enough, right?
Nope.
We have to balance our blood sugar. All right. Sorry, Megan.
Yep. That's okay. So I, my doctor obviously said with the huge spike, I exercise, maybe not as much strength training as I was doing, but I was to a point that with my rheumatoid diagnosis, I wasn't able to do a lot with my back and things, but I was still walking, I was still hiking. But my cholesterol went off and they wouldn't put me on statins and meds. And I said, absolutely not. I wasn't going there. And so I talked to Michelle and she suggested this. And I said, okay. So I joined. And after the 4 weeks and the 4-week program for me really was not that hard. I really didn't eat a lot of gluten to begin with. Giving up dairy was no big thing. I did miss my wine. But I'm back to having some of that.
And now we have clean crafted wine. So that makes it even better.
And, so going through the program wasn't hard for me. I lost my sugar cravings almost within the first week, which I was shocked at, which was great. But as a result, after the 4 weeks, I was able to decrease the meds that I was taking for my ankylosing spondylitis to half. So they're anti-inflammatories. I was able to cut them in half. And now I am 3 months out from the program and my cholesterol's already dropped back down into the normal ranges. It's at the high end. So I still have a little ways to go, but there's no longer a discussion of me doing statins.
That is amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Right? Like that is proof about food being medicine. And yet we still know how to have our Dairy Queen if we need it.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't need that anymore.
No. And I wasn't in this to lose weight, and added bonus, I have lost weight. And
when you get to your optimal health, you will get to your optimal weight. Would you all agree?
Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways that we try to support people in this, right? So I will always say, I think having a coach is powerful. And to me, I mean, when I do the 4 weeks to wellness, I wrote the dang program. I still bring on one of the coaches to support me. So tell me about who wants to jump in about having a coach or what a coach has done for you. Go ahead, Sarah.
The coach was amazing, like there the whole time, right from the beginning, to making sure.
Shannon was your coach, right? Shannon?
Yes, Shannon was my coach. Yeah, she was great. And so I mean, I must admit, when I got my big box from Arbonne, I was kind of overwhelmed with all the stuff that was in it. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, what the hell do I do with this and this and this and this? But Shannon was great. She said, yeah, take your digestive enzyme and a glass of water before you do anything else. Put your
we try to walk you through it.
So yeah, she was great with all that.
Good.
And then she's also sort of like gave me suggestions for different foods that I could get from the health food store. Some of them I knew about, and actually while I was out searching, I actually found things that she didn't know about. So that was great. I was in the store taking pictures.
Well, that happened.
So yeah, so that was great.
And then the membership group, right? I mean, all the coaches are living in the membership group. Do you guys raise your hand if you find that to be a helpful community as well? Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah. And then I also feel like with the support, how many of you have been able to really take advantage of the recipes? Who uses the recipes? Oh, Beth, you were like there, and Noelle. Okay, good. Who doesn't use the recipes as much?
I do one recipe.
The sweet and sour, right? Right.
Yeah, every day.
But that's what I love about the fact that there's multiple ways to make this work for whomever you are. I do say cooking for your family has a lot of layers of benefit for your soul. But Beth, you were right away like about the recipes. Talk about that.
My husband tells me I'm a better cook now. I'm like, yeah. But no, I love the recipes they give us. I probably do 2 or 3 a week, actually.
Oh, good.
My son loves it. My husband loves it. They're easy. And I don't have to worry about it being balanced. You've done that for us. So yeah, I love them.
So what surprised you guys the most? So who could speak to what was the most surprising thing about disruptive nutrition, about our approach or the program?
It's
That
easy.
it's so easy.
Really? But there's a learning curve at first, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it is, but I think you describe them as systems, right? And like, when you think about, again, I'm not a meal prepper. Like Sunday, thinking about like prepping for the week is just overwhelming to me. But when you say, okay, as long as I have my hard-boiled eggs ready and done, and the Instapot, like there's no other way to cook a hard-boiled egg, which I never knew until this program, but like really there's no other way. And and like if you have the proteins, like the normal grocery shopping, it's not meal prepping. Like if you know what you're buying and and then you just have it ready, it's easy.
Yeah.
And that's the part that, because it's not, I also, we're very, very busy, right? So I haven't been able to do all the recipes yet. The one I have, here and there, we try to fit it in and do it, but those are easy. Like it's not hard once you get the gist. Yes.
Yep, I would say that too. Okay, so what about mindset work? What do you think is the biggest growth you've had in your own mindsets? Jessica, what do you think about for you? Oh, now you're muted.
Oh.
No, you're not.
I always thought that I was a very self-aware person. I have always delved inward to find things about myself that I didn't know before. And I feel like I've grown the past 7 to 8 weeks, that I didn't think that I would have that kind of growth through here. It's not just about food. It's about every part of you. It's about your mind, your body, your soul. It's like everything combined, and it's pretty beautiful.
I love that. I feel like this is why I have this know your value here. There's so much more to all of us than figuring out the right way to eat, right? Every one of us has a purpose. And until you can get rid of the food thing as a part of the equation and start to live a sustainable life, you can't even figure out why you were put on this earth. Yeah.
The mindset probably has been the most important for me, because being a diabetic for over a dozen years, I know what I'm supposed to do. I thought even eating every 3 hours, but that was just, go back to that was surprising. I thought I was doing that. I didn't know about I knew only about the carb, how much carb I should have. I didn't know to match it with protein and fat. But now that that's under control, and as I told you before, I feel calmer around food. I have this confidence now in my mind. I can do this. For 12 years, I've been freaked out, and now I don't have that freak out. And I'm like, just follow the program, follow, like Leah says, the systems and the modules you have laid out every day. And hey, I can do this. That's what makes it sustainable. I could never be sustainable before.
I love that. I love that. All right. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask each of you to think of one thing to say to somebody who is in the place where you were before you started. And what would you have liked to have heard from somebody to convince you to do this? And this is about doing this so we can just sell more stuff. This is about changing people's lives. That is what I believe I'm here to do and to support women on. And so you all have that role now too, because once you know, you can do. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask you, what is the 1 or 2 words that you would want to say to somebody that was in your position? And when you were kind of back and forth and not sure what to do, what did you need to hear? I'll let somebody start because I'll let you all think about that question a little. Who wants to start? All right, Noelle.
I would say lifelong. This is a lifelong plan. And that was a relief to me. That's your authenticity, but really drew me in. But that also was just unheard of to me. So it needed to be lifelong.
Fabulous. All right, who's next? Sarah.
I would say basically, if you do this and you get your mindset right and you do all the other stuff that needs to be done, this is a life changer for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's next? All right.
I'd say lifelong, but I also say very freeing. I know by getting control of my health, it's made me more available for my family, and then also freed up time for me to, like the book talks that you do. I love those. And I've been able to delve into those and learn more about myself through that aspect as well, and not just food.
Yeah, we're really intentional with what we choose for our book studies, and we save them all, right? So you can go back and do them. And I always say, when you're in the program, when you're doing the 4 weeks to wellness, that's what you're doing. You don't need to do anything else. But then you know how to eat. So then you can start to dig into the other aspects of you. Awesome. All right, who's next?
Stop worrying about the weight and just focus on getting healthy.
Leah, just a few weeks ago, I feel like you would not have said that. Leah and I had a very long talk before she decided to join, and it was very nerve-wracking. Am I right?
Yep.
I remember you got really nervous, and I'm like, stick with me, girl. I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did. All right, Jessica.
I would say that you need to invest in yourself. That I was leery about spending any money because I figured, you know what, I shouldn't have to spend anything to figure this out. But when I figured in all of the years of me going to doctors and trying to figure out why I was gaining weight, and every doctor would just tell me, well, eat better. And it's like, well, I'm already eating better. And all of the co-pays I spent, the large amount of deductibles that I've spent, and all of the money that I've spent to try to figure out what was wrong with me. And all I had to do was learn how to eat the proper way. Mm-hmm. And now I know that I'm worth it. And that's why that I needed to do this, was because I'm worth it. And I need to know that I need to do this for me.
Awesome. And the future savings, like I think about you, Megan, and how much you saved just by doing this in a few weeks, right? Because the future savings, not even money, but life. We are all going into our second season of life. And we need to do this in a way that allows us to still be able to kick that soccer ball with our grandkids when we're 90 years old, but also just be able to lean into our purpose. All right, Beth, you're up.
I'm with I think it's Jessica. Yeah. Just know your worth and know your value. Like you say, I keep that in my head, know my value. Like I am worth this. So
Awesome. Melissa.
I would say, if you're worried that, you can't do it and do it perfectly, you don't have to do it perfectly in the beginning. It's a process. It's taking me a long time to get it under control and get it in my mind. And so if you want to get off the revolving diet door, hamster wheel like I was on, this is, as they said, lifelong. And I like the word sustainable. I was always looking for sustainable and couldn't find it.
Okay, who this is a little test for all of you. When we talk about perfect, what is it that I say that we
There's
about
no such thing.
no such thing? Yep. What else? Anything else?
Perfection.
Done is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect. Leah, what did you say?
Consistency over perfection.
Yeah, there you go.
There's always the next meal.
You're just three hours away from your next meal to be able to get right back on. I
Yeah.
always say it's like a relationship, that relationship with your body. I mean, let's be honest. Any one of us that are married, no, we haven't been perfect. Our spouses haven't been perfect. But if we can stay overall consistent and not have super, super highs and super, super lows, we're going to be able to do this for the long term, this marriage thing, right? Consistency will beat perfection all day long. I love that. I love all of you. I'm so excited that we got to do this. Does anybody have any last words of inspiration? Melissa, I'm so proud of you. You go, girl.
My very favorite thing that you said, and that I say all the time, the book about the love languages, you say PFC is your body's love language. So when you're doing that, you do build that trust with your body and it becomes healthy.
Love that. I love that so much. Ladies, thank you so much. You are inspirational. You're changing lives just by taking your time out to do this with me. I am just so proud of every single one of you and honestly humbled and honored to be a part of your life. I love you guys.
Love you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Oh, hey again. I swear I get teary-eyed watching that, and I would love to know, comment, what did you think? What about these women resonated with you? Their stories, I know, had to resonate with you and your story. So just drop some fire. Thank these women for being so vulnerable. All of them really care about these fellow members and other diet disruptors to make sure that everybody's living this lifestyle. So I want to tell you now something very exciting about where we are. It is, what is it, May 10th, and we are opening the doors to the 4 Weeks to Wellness on Thursday, May 13th. So I want you to do this. We are going to post all week and we're going to share stories and answer questions. We are running our seminar this week. If you're interested, you could join today. We started today, but I want you to do this. We will not offer another one till towards the end of the year. This is your chance. Imagine how different your life can be. Megan was talking about how her medications were cut in or her numbers were cut in half in just 4 weeks. Y'all, what your goals are can be accomplished. Stop the yo-yo, stop the hamster wheel. You don't need it. This is the real deal. Okay, so if you want to make sure that you get our emails as to when the 4 Weeks to Wellness opens, go to 4w2w.com and get on the list, but keep your eye out. We won't take any enrollments until Thursday, but we will have a special offer that for fast track people that know they want in right away, but we will leave the doors open from Thursday till Sunday, and that is it. And then the doors close, and then the opportunity is gone until later in the year. We only run this 3 times a year. So let me know what you thought of these women. And if you're in and going to do the 4 Weeks to Wellness with us, I want you to type the word in. I can't wait to hear from you. Have a great week, you guys. I hope you're inspired.